It is so good to see you guys, hear your voices. We stalk you on the interwebs, but it's just not the same. Oh, so we were like, okay, why haven't we talked to our No Theater friends? They were our first, like, you guys were like our third digital thing. We were like our first digital friends, and we're like, how did we not think to bring them on? So we were like, we had to do this.
You guys were my baptism by fire, actually.
Yeah, because like we went from like a friend of ours was doing a production of another friend's show, so we were like, okay, of course we're gonna go to that. They're friends of ours. And then another friend was doing a show with another friend, and we're like, okay, good, friends. And then we met you guys, and it was like, oh shit. Here we go. And then it was just like 21 shows in like 2 weeks, and here we are. So
that's how we get you.
That's right.
Now
Quantity.
you're stuck with us. You're stuck with us for life.
We'll take it.
Oh, so our main like point of conversation will just be you guys pivoting from going from like, hey, we're a theater company doing what theater companies do, to, oh, did the world catch on fire? Now what do we do? And so we kind of want to hear like that journey, the ups, the downs, like how the whole SAG, I'm forgetting the second one.
SAG-AFTRA AA.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Thing is like maybe affecting you. Maybe, maybe you guys found a loophole. I don't know. Probably not. We've seen some angry letters, so we don't know the whole story. But and then we'll also ask you guys like our take 5, which is 5 questions we ask everybody. They're super open-ended. They're just kind of get the brain flowing and things going on. So do you want to start with the take 5, or you want to start with just the story of the before?
Let's get them telling the story, and we'll end with the take 5. That's, with big groups, ending is usually better. All
right, let's start from the beginning. So March, when did in the beginning March. So when did the whole like, we have to pivot moment happen, and what were you doing before the pivot?
So we were actually in the middle of the run of our production of Alabaster by Audrey Sefley, which was part of a National New Play Network rolling world premiere. So we had an inkling that things were coming, for sure. We had a sense of the world was shifting. But it definitely hit Cincinnati faster than we thought it would in terms of just both increase in number of cases and the necessity to lock down. So in the middle of the run of that show, we had to pivot very rapidly to, okay, if we have to cancel the run, how can we still make this available to audiences? And so as we were seeing the first cancellation, we approached Actors Equity to see if there was any way that we could do essentially, well, first our question was, because early on we were like, we're not sure what's going to happen. Is there the possibility of us live streaming each night, even if it's from an empty theater? Or is there the possibility of pre-recording it? And the initial reply we got was, hold on, essentially. Like, give us a minute. But and it was very interesting, because at first the sense that we got seemed to be that a live stream might be okay, but a recorded performance would not be. And then it switched completely to be, nope, you can record it, but you have to record it on a day that was already scheduled to be a performance. And then you can only broadcast it for 2 weeks following what the closing period would be, and not to more people than would have been able to see it in person. So we essentially got onto the same agreement that ART in San Francisco was able to negotiate. And we're really indebted to that company, because they pushed it to make it happen. And then that's the agreement that Equity was able to roll out nationally. So we rapidly invested in some new camera equipment, and Henry, our technical director, who's right here, utilized a lot of his video background to make things happen. Henry, do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So for this production, it was already up and running. It was all built and everything. So it just came down to capturing it as quickly as we could. So putting together, figuring out who on our team had taken a media class in college, knew how to use a camera, those types of things. Trying to throw together just this the smallest idea of a storyboard for how it was going to go together. Just knowing the resources we had. I think the camera arrived the same day. The 4K camera we used arrived the same day that we filmed it. And at the same time, we were trying to think about what the future would look like. So, preparing for buying pieces of technology that would serve us moving forward, and also beginning. At this point, we were already beginning the conversation of what different parts of our programming might look like digitally moving forward. So trying to get ahead of the game while we were already in the game became the name of the game. So very gamey.
I think like a rabbit that's been running really, I don't know. I think one of the things that struck us in the middle of that process as well is as we were looking to capture that show, we were already asking ourselves, okay, how do we try to capture the liveness of this experience and the totality of the design and staging without just defaulting to close-ups, without trying to make it a film? How do we capture the work that's already been done? So we did essentially a 4-camera setup. We had sort of our wide shot, 2 other angles, and then sort of a mid shot that we could refocus in between things, because we wanted to make sure we were capturing the fullness of the staging and the fullness of the lighting design and all of those things. So once we got all of that data, it was a lot. It was a lot of footage, and we were rapidly trying to edit it as quickly as possible to get it online within the next couple of days, because we had such a time limit for how long we were allowed to exhibit it. We also did not put body mics on people for that particular capture, in part because we didn't have, it was all moving so quickly. We didn't have the time and necessarily the ability to get the equipment set up to do a mic capture on everyone. We also really didn't want it to change the actors' performances, since we wouldn't be able to have another rehearsal before the capture. So we wanted them to be able to do what they'd always been doing and not adjust for the camera. They were still performing for an audience in the seats that just happened to be cameras. So once we got it captured, we then divvied up editing duties. So our resident sound and projection designer took Act 2, and Zach Robinson, our community and artist relations manager, took Act 1. And so we were cutting it together and pushing a ton of data back and forth over the internet so that we could review it and give notes and then get everything together to go live within just a couple of days. So it was frantic and very complicated.
My side of all of that was the patron relationship and also sponsor relationship side of things. So as soon as things started coming down, we had to pivot, to first off demystify how to do some of this stuff for patrons who aren't used to streaming content. Our audience skews younger than a lot of the theaters around, particularly here in Cincinnati, but theater is still largely people, 50 to 60 and older. Like, that just is the nature of the beast. And a lot of these people aren't really using Netflix. They're not really using YouTube all that much. And so figuring out how do we say, okay, you can still see this show and we can still keep you safe. And here are the things you have to do with this brand new, we've never used our box office software in this way. The box office system that we use, VBO, which is a great system, was basically building streaming technology on the fly to make their ticketing make sense with streaming content. And we were sort of one of their guinea pigs.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they're really awesome and super responsive. So they've built out a lot of things since that time that have made it possible for us to offer, continued streaming content. But really, like, we had to have conversations from everything about, like, okay, if somebody buys a ticket, what then? Like, how do they get the link, and what do they watch it in, and how do we tell them that, and how do we make sure they only watch it once, and how do we structure it so that it fits the time limits that we're part of the AEA contract. So a lot of my time was spent on that side of things, getting press out about the thing, and also talking to our sponsors who had sponsored the show and making sure that they understood that, we're still doing the show. We're doing our best to complete the the contract we have with you. You gave us this money to do X, Y, and Z. Well, okay, now we're doing not quite X, Y, and Z, but we're still doing a thing. So it was, while all of them are pushing, pulling all-nighters, pushing data back and forth and making sure the product looks really good, the rest of the team was just trying to figure out how to get people connected to the content once it actually was created.
Whoa. It's funny hearing you guys talk about all this. I mean, you probably saw us just talking about we're writing a book about digital theater like crazy people. And you guys say a lot of things we've been trying to explain, but it's funny hearing you guys literally being on like the front lines of it. Theater for an audience that isn't there is one of the terms we've been using. Theater that was made in this moment for this moment, and like stuff like that. How you've literally had to redefine, almost like use the parameters of old theater and then redefine this new thing that you're trying to do.
Hey guys, if you like what we just did, there's going to be plenty more coming up. Please like, comment, subscribe. Our Venmo is in the description. Please support us if you can. Our cats need the money.